Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to Tattooed Relic. And yes, this is a major departure from my normal content, but I'm doing it because it's important. And I'm going to tell you guys two things up front. Number one, I wasn't planning on doing any videos today. It's late. I've got a buzz, so be patient with me. Secondly, and on a much more serious note, I don't intend for this channel to be political, and I'm not here to tell you how to think politically. I would never presume to do that. And I have long resisted putting up any videos that are even remotely political for that very reason. But again, I'm doing this one because I think it's important, and I'm also doing it precisely because this particular issue should not be political. It should be about the truth. But you know what? It isn't. And the reason for that, ladies and gentlemen, is political bias on the part of the media. We're being sold a bill of goods by basically political activists masquerading as journalists. And I think that's a serious problem that we're dealing with right now. And I think it's something we need to take a look at and address. So the purpose of this video is to run through some actual facts with you regarding the coronavirus. And I'm highlighting in this video how dishonest and misleading the mainstream media is being about this. And why am I doing that? Like I said, it's important. I encourage you guys to do what I did today. Educate yourselves on the facts. Don't take the narrative being sold to you by the media as gospel. Don't be sheep. And I don't care if that media source is on the left or the right. Educate yourself. Do the research yourself and form your own conclusions. That is the best thing that anybody can do. So anyway, with that being said, let's talk about the coronavirus. I spent some time this afternoon doing research on actual current stats related to the pandemic. And the stats I'm about to give you are current as of today, 13 July 2020. And here's the problem. We're hearing this narrative in the media that the world's coming to an end because there are dramatic spikes in cases of this virus. And interestingly enough, the states that are being highlighted in those reports just happen to be red states that open up early in order to get their economies going again. Particularly if you tune in to CNN or MSNBC, what are you going to hear? Florida, Georgia, Texas, Arizona. Those are the main states you hear about. Cases are spiking in those states, and the narrative that's being presented is that this is a direct result of the states ending their lockdowns and opening up and getting people back to work. And here's why this is dishonest. For one, the most obvious thing that the media, particularly on the left, conveniently leaves out of their reporting is the fact that testing has increased exponentially in every state. In my county, I live in a small county in the state of Georgia, and my county is testing about 5,000 people a week. 2 months ago, 3 months ago, maybe they were testing 100 people a week. So it's just common sense. If there's more testing going on, of course you're going to get more confirmed cases. I mean, how is that difficult to grasp? And another thing to consider is that a statistical confirmed case of coronavirus does not mean that that person is in the ICU or that person is dying. As a matter of fact, it's pretty well known at this point that a lot of the confirmed cases are people who didn't even know they had the virus because it isn't affecting them. And the only reason they know they have the virus is because they got tested. And with that being said, let's talk about how this is being presented in the media. And then I got some stats for you that might blow your mind. Again, what states are you hearing about in these media reports? You're hearing about Florida, Georgia, Texas, Arizona. Those are the main states that you're hearing about. And these all just happen to be red states with Republican governors. Now, what states are you not hearing about very much? California, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, Massachusetts. These are all Democrat-run states who went on massive lockdowns. Some of them are still under pretty severe restrictions. And so with all of that in mind, let's take a look at the stats. To kick things off, I researched total confirmed cases today by state as of today's date. And here's some numbers to consider. Total confirmed cases in the state of New York: 401,706. California, 324,543. Florida, 269,811. Texas, 262,762. 762. New Jersey, 175,298 cases. Arizona, 122,467 cases. And finally, the state that I live in, Georgia, 116,935 cases. So let's see. I just gave you stats for 7 states. It just so happens that 4 of those states are run by Republican governors, and they made the decision to open their states up early and get the economy rolling again. 3 of those states are Democrat nanny states, and you're not hearing much of anything about those states in these media reports. Curious, huh? The narrative in the media is that the states that open early are causing a massive spike in coronavirus cases, and oh my God, the sky is falling. Blah 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 blah. It's so tired. It's predictable at this point. People, this is simple. The media should be about truth and honest reporting, and it isn't. And for anyone who doesn't intuitively understand this, let me spell it out for you. Cherry picking statistics and casting aside stats that don't fit your narrative and your agenda is not journalism. That's propaganda. And the left likes to throw around the term Nazi. I find that kind of amusing, because if you think about what the media is doing right now, the mainstream media is engaging in propaganda. And probably the 2 biggest regimes in modern history that are known for propaganda would be Nazi Germany and the old Soviet Union. And now China. But that's another discussion for another video. All right. Let's look at deaths adjusted per capita. Here's the most recent stats on the number of coronavirus deaths per million people, state by state. New Jersey, 1,750 people per million people in that state have died of the coronavirus. New Jersey is a blue state. Massive lockdowns. New York, 1,660 people per million have died. Blue state, massive lockdown. Connecticut, 1,220 per million people. Blue state, massive lockdown. Then it gets interesting. Arizona, red state, opened up recklessly. Governor didn't give a damn if people died. Opened the state back up. 310 people per million have died. Georgia, 280 people have died. Another red state with another reckless maniac governor. who had the audacity to open the state back up and get the economy going again. Florida, same thing. 200 people per million have died. California, blue state, 180 people per million have died, which is an impressively low number. And I got to be honest, I was shocked by that. But California is pretty spread out, so I guess that makes sense. Texas, 110 people per million have died. Texas, another red state with a maniac governor who decided to open things up early. So the narrative that we are getting from the media is that states opening up early has caused just it's the end of the world. And that's total bullshit. Let's put these numbers into perspective. Take New York and New Jersey. New York and New Jersey have a combined population of roughly 28.5 million people. Both of those states put together. Between those two states on massive lockdown, they have almost 600,000 confirmed cases of this virus. Now, contrast that against Florida, run by an evil Republican governor who wants everyone to die and opened up his state early. Florida has roughly 2 million more people than the state of New York. And yet, New York has 1.5 times the number of COVID cases that Florida does. 1.5 times the number of cases. And I haven't done the research on this, but I think it's probably fair to say that the population, probably the median age in Florida is much higher than that of New York, which makes that stat even more significant because it's well known that the older you are, the more dangerous this is for you. A lot of retirees in Florida. Texas. Texas has a population greater than New York and New Jersey combined. And yet, the state of Texas has less than half the total number of cases of New York and New Jersey combined. But opening up early is a disaster, and it's bringing about the apocalypse, and lockdown is the answer, right? Okay. The state that I live in, Georgia, population 10.7 million. So a little more than half the population of New York. Georgia has less than 30% of the total cases that New York does. But the Georgia governor is an irresponsible maniac who doesn't care if people die, and everyone should be more like Governor Cuomo in New York. And everyone should be locked in their homes and hiding under the covers. Is that about right? It's absolutely ridiculous. I could go on about this all night, guys, but I'm going to cut this off here. But I want you to understand, like I said, I'm posting this video because I think it's important. And I think dishonesty and hypocrisy in the media is a major problem. And I think people need to do their own research, educate themselves on the facts on their own, and form their own common sense conclusions. The data is there, people. All you have to do is take the time to look it up. And I guess that's it. I appreciate you guys watching, and I'll see you guys soon with a much more lighthearted video. Maybe a movie review. Maybe. We'll see. Thanks for watching, guys.